anybody's ever seen freaking what's it called? The Andy Griffith Show. He sounds exactly like Gomer Pyle from that show.
I have not watched it.
Well, yeah, it's from the '50s, so that's fine.
Probably.
He just has this weird accent, and it kind of goes like this a little bit, and he sounds really dumb, but he's actually pretty smart.
That was pretty good.
It's my favorite voice to do because I like playing characters that are oblivious to things but also functional. I don't know. I have a lot of weird character quirks.
Do you mean in general or just for this one character?
In multiple characters. I always like having a weird gimmick to one of my characters.
Well, you don't really have to worry about what I'm going to do today.
That also works.
Well, that's lovely. Ah, God, that wasn't no, that was weak.
Well, that's lovely.
The real problem with whenever I do a new voice is I'm immediately like, all right, I'm gonna immediately bomb it, so I just get nervous.
Yeah, it definitely takes a bit of time. I mean, myself, I've got like UK accents down. I've got like an Australian/New Zealand one down.
I can do a gruff voice, but that's about it.
And I mean, I can do like the stereotypical like redneck voice, because let's face it, most UK people can do that one.
Wait, I don't know what you're talking about. Ah, God, I can't. I can't even do that casual voice. Oh no.
It's gonna go well for you tonight, isn't it?
Ah, I have no idea how this is even going to work. There's my
I'm not doing a
standard.
voice.
There's my union standard voice.
You don't have to do a voice really, but if you want to, you can do it.
Yeah, I'm not.
It's purely for our own suffering. It's actually kind of entertaining.
Well, for Matt, since we haven't talked yet, everybody starts off with 650 gold extra than what they usually start off with. So you can add 650 gold. And I just gave you a magic item that I rolled for. It should be in your journal. It should be
I
in
like
your
how
journal.
I love how my characters are both archaeologists, and the first item I get is a healing potion.
Don't know the
Well,
irony.
you might need it.
I bought
Yeah,
a bag. Yeah, go on.
No, you go ahead.
That's it. We buy a bag of holding for the first group, and the first magical item we get is another bag of holding.
Yeah, I rolled for it, and it landed on the bag of holding, so he gets it. If there's anything else that you want to buy or do before we start, you can do it now, like the next 5 to 10 minutes.
I genuinely
Otherwise, we
don't
can
know
start.
what any items cost or anything. That is
It's
my
the
one
same
problem.
from Player's Handbook. You can start off with the same cost from all the item lists from the PHB.
All right, let's go with some.
I was just checking out some of the attacks of the enemies that you might be facing today or next week. And it did 51 damage in a single hit.
Wow, I'm actually
And
not
I
getting.
was like, I should probably check everybody's HP. Then I went and checked everybody's HP, and only one person has more than 51.
And that would be me.
Yep, you have 52.
Don't worry, guys. The archer is the tank.
Let's see how it goes.
All right, I need a useless wondrous item. Incredibly useless. Let's see here.
While you guys are buying your stuff, I'll just give a brief introduction, or basically the description of how the second set of characters scenario works. I think I told Rob yesterday that the events that are going to happen for the second set of characters today and possibly a couple of weeks until maybe 2 or 3 sessions later, they all start off at the time where your first set of characters were coming back from the fight with the hag. So it would be about a week, a week and a half before the final events of last week's session, which we haven't discussed yet. In last week's session, since Matt left earlier, you may not have been there for what looked like a possible earthquake, which pretty much shifted, well, not shifted, but it started to structurally damage many buildings and shops and in Wolfast City. While this was happening, Marlowe, I believe, was in his room because we didn't know what to do with him at that point. But everybody experienced this earthquake-like sensation, and as Danis and Lord Alden left the office to see what the hell was happening outside, both of them witnessed dark clouds hanging above the city, which is quite unusual, at least for the limited amount of time that you guys have spent there. And out of nowhere, Dennis and Alden, and probably even Cassandra, may have heard a loud explosion coming from the southern part of the city. And that is where we ended last week. The events that are going to happen now would be happening about a week before the events of last week. The second scenario that we'll be playing now will start off at Castle Drakehall, which most of you would know is and had always been under the control of Lord Grey, the family Grey. It is currently held by Lord Damian Grey, who is, as far as most of you know, I believe, except for Ebil. Jana, Lillian, and Oriana would know that he lives a very lavish life. He spends a lot of money on everything: alcohol, drugs, women, paintings, magical items, artifacts. He just likes to collect and blow off money as fast as he can. He is currently in Castle Drakehall, and he is personally assisted by a person, a human named Gustav, which a couple of you may have met. Gustav is about 7 feet tall, and he's well mannered, he's well dressed, he speaks softly, and he has invited about, I believe, 3 of you to his lord's house, castle, and he has stated that the reason why you are being escorted to the castle is due to a certain important mission at hand, which needs to be completed in a timely fashion. That is as far as you guys know for now. Does anyone have any questions, or can we begin?
I'm good.
I should be good.
All right.
Good as well.
As the 3 of you, Lillian, Oriana, and Jana, are being escorted by this towering gentleman Two of you have already been to the castle. You have already worked with Lord Grey on certain escort missions and certain missions which involve retrieving magical items, paintings, etc. So you are pretty familiar with his humongous house that he has inside his own castle. It is fully carpeted and it is always dimly lit. There are rows of paintings and portraits of what you may assume to be the previous owners of Castle Drakol, the previous Greys, so to speak. And for Lillian, this is the first time that you have been into any such buildings. You are taken aback at first, looking at the size of this hall, and you would assume that even a goblet that is being used to drink wine would cost more than what you've ever seen in your life. But as you three are escorted forward, you see Gustav turn back. Well, if you may take your seats, I shall bring Lord Grey over. I believe he would want to speak with you personally. As he turns and he walks into another relatively biggish room next door. You can somewhat hear soft music, and you can hear women and some men in a very um, in a very loud voice. You can't understand what they're saying. It's all muffled since you're in the room next door, but it seems like they're all having the time of their lives.
I feel like we're missing a party.
You might be.
Could I make a perception check to see if I can spot something particular?
You are Ebil, right?
Yeah.
You are not currently in the castle itself.
Oh yeah.
The
Never
other
mind.
three are inside, but now I was going to come to you. So, Ebil, from what you have experienced in the past few months, you are relatively sure that this castle is the one that you are being guided to. You did see Gustav, which you wouldn't know that he's Gustav, but you would know that he's a tall person who stands out quite easily, escorting three ladies into the castle. What would you like to do, Ebil? You are currently outside the castle. You can see the gates, the huge gates right in front of you. No one's really guarding it.
I would like to walk through, please, to see if anyone actually notices if I'm there.
As you walk through the outer gates to the double doors, wooden doors, you see that there's just one person who looks very much like any other city guard, but he's not wearing any proper uniform, so to speak. He is currently in what looks like a deep slumber. No one else has noticed you walking towards the door.
Can I see if the door's open?
As you push through the one of the wooden doors, you see that it is open, and it opens with a slow and long creaking noise, which doesn't seem to wake this guard up. He just seems to be deep in slumber.
I'll keep going in then.
As you keep going in, you start to feel like you've already seen the inside of the castle before. It's almost as though you have been familiarized with it, but you just can't put a finger on it yet. As you walk forward, you enter the huge-ish hall that is right in front, right behind the wooden doors. And on both sides of the walls, you see paintings, but not in the order that you once saw before, but seems to have been. It seems like some of the paintings weren't there the last time you had a vision, so to speak.
Yeah.
As you keep moving forward, you do see the three ladies who were being escorted into the Great Hall. They are currently sitting what looks like a couch right opposite a fireplace on the rear end of this hall. And for the three of you, what you see from behind you is one. How would you describe yourself, Ebil? Just your appearance.
I'm 6 foot tall. I have green eyes and hair. Best way to describe it is pasty white with greenish clothes as well.
The three of you see this person walking towards you.
Well, hey there.
Well, hello. How can
Are you here for the party? Because I think it's inside.
I? No, I've not really been invited to a party. I've kind of just walked past the guard because he was asleep.
Oh. Well, that seems very safe.
I was actually wondering who actually lived here.
Oh, that'd be Damien.
Damien?
Yeah, Damien Gray. He owns this estate.
Oh, okay. I might have to speak to this Damien.
I think he's in. I think he's in the party right now, but I think Gustav just went to go get him.
Oh, would you mind if I waited for him with you?
Yeah, you're more than welcome to.
Thank you. My name's Ebil, by the way. Ebil Domil.
Oh, hi, Abel. I'm Jonna.
Hello.
Oh god, this voice gonna get bad real fast.
And you other two fine-looking ladies. What would your names be?
I'm like skipping around the couch right now, so I'm not really paying attention. But then I just sort of yell out, I'm like, "My name's Lily."
Well, you're quite excitable.
I just keep skipping.
The other lady that you see is the most curious one of them all, since she's a tiefling with horns that are whitish, about the same color as her skin. And you can somewhat see what looks like a tip of her tail just wiggling at the back.
And who might you be?
My name's Oriana. Nice to meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you too. I've never quite seen someone like you before.
I haven't seen someone like me either.
Well, we've got something in common already.
I've seen two of two people before. It's kind of weird. That was my brother, so I don't really care.
Oh. Okay.
Well, it's great information to know. So what brings you here on this fine day?
Well, I'm waiting to talk to Mr. Damien and see about a adventure he was wanting us to go on.
Yep, me too.
Me three.
Oh, so you're adventurers?
Something like that.
Sounds fun.
So you just decided to walk in?
No, I have a feeling there's something I need here, but I'd rather talk to the owner first before I start wandering around.
I'd recommend it. I mean, I don't think all the guards here are asleep, so you might get stopped.
It's highly likely.
So I run up to you and I just sort of look up because I'm just under 3 feet tall. I'm a halfling. So I look way up at you and I just kind of go,
Wait,
"You're weird." And then I continue skipping.
Aye, that would be an apt description.
well, considering the party, I don't think there's that many people that would classify us as normal.
As you were speaking with each other, you hear the door open in a very quick fashion, almost like someone kicked it open. And as the door opens, you can hear the music, the soft music, grow much louder. And some of you may even see a hint of smoke coming out of the room. And now you can really hear a lot of people, both women, men, could be some other creatures too, not entirely sure. They are, some of them are laughing out loud, some of them are, from the angle that you're sitting in, you can see that some of them are currently lying down, some on the ground, some on couches, some on what looks like tables inside. And they don't seem to be of the proper mind, from what you can see. And from the door, you see this about 6 foot, 6 feet, maybe slightly above 6 feet tall human with long black hair, which is not kept properly at all, is completely messed up, and he's only wearing a pair of pants. He isn't too muscular or anything, but he seems to be enjoying himself. As he walks out, more like he stumbles out, you can see in one hand he's holding on to what looks like an entire bottle of wine, and he spills quite an amount of it on the ground as he walks out. He squints his eyes at the four of you sitting opposite to the fireplace. Well, ladies, you can come in. I don't know about you, though, whatever you are. As he points at you, Ebil.
Hello, I'm just a person looking for the owner of this place.
Well, that would be me.
Ah, fantastic.
But yes, go on, go on.
I was wondering, do you have a certain painting, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, there are about 1 million paintings
This one,
everywhere in this mansion.
this one would be of a young man with neck-length black hair, with a walking stick, and a glass of really red wine.
Hmm. Well, I don't really buy these paintings myself. Gustav, as he shouts out into the room, And once again, you first see the shadow, which is probably about 10 to 12 feet right now, coming out of the room. And then you see Gustav coming out. Yes, what great. And you see Damien turn back. Do we have a painting which very obscurely looks like me? You see Gustav looking back. Well, sir, we have a lot of paintings of you. If you recall, you are the one who commissioned those portraits. Ah, I don't know what this man's up to, but he seems to be interested in paintings. But if the ladies are here to have the time of their lives, you can ask them to come in. But, sir, as you see, Gustav, in a way supports Damien. Damien looks like he's almost falling off. He can't hold on to himself. He's losing his balance. The ladies are not here for your pleasures, sir. They are here on the other matter that we talked about. As Damien looks back. Ah, yes, yes. They're here this soon. Well, why don't you send them to my office? I have some other businesses to attend to inside. I'll be back in relatively short amount of time. As you see him walking back into the room, and Gustav walks out. Well, Lord Grey, he is forgetful nowadays. Please do not take offense, my ladies.
It seems as if he's less forgetful and a little bit more tipsy.
Well, when you have all the money in the world and no one else to spend the money on, it's what happens. But we can talk about him on later time. Why don't I escort you to my office? And you are here for a painting, you said?
Yes, I'm looking for a very particular painting, but if you're busy, I can always come back.
You see him thinking to himself for just a couple of seconds. He scratches his chin. Well, what would your name be, good sir?
My name's Ebil, Ebil Domil.
Ebil. Well, if you're here for paintings, there are hundreds, maybe even more. But if, of course, you want to purchase them or any such dealings, you would have to talk to Damien himself. So why don't you come with us to the office? I'm sure he will be back. Damien will be there in about 10 minutes or so.
Aye, it's no problem.
All right. As he walks towards the front end of this hall, where there's a smaller room, which looks like a lobby, kind of, a table with a couple of paintings inside and some bookcases, some shelves. And as you are waiting there, after about 15 to 20 minutes, you see Damien, the long black-haired human, walk into the lobby. And now he's much better dressed. He's wearing what looks like a white, almost transparent shirt with long black pants. He's not wearing any shoes or any footwear, but he doesn't seem to be as tipsy as he was earlier. Ah, It's good to see you here. Did Gustav tell you everything up that you need to know?
Not a whole lot actually. We just kind of got in here.
Right. Well, why don't you take a seat? As he goes behind the table, and he sits on his own chair, which is much bigger, a lot bigger for just one person to sit in. As he uh, as he sits back, looks up at you. Well, not the best of timings for you to be here. I had other businesses to attend to, but it's not a problem. I'm sure Gustav had already mentioned that the mission at hand would be far more dangerous than the ones that you have already been assigned, as he looks at Jana and Oriana.
John's ears begin to twitch a little bit. Dangerous.
Well, in the past, if I'm not mistaken, you helped me with few collections and retrievals of items, and I'm eternally grateful for them. But the one that I'm about to tell you is of far greater importance and of much greater danger.
Ears twitch more. So what are we going after? Is it an ancient relic? Is it a magic item? Ooh, maybe an ancient magic item.
As you were saying this to him, now that you are in a much better lighting where you can all see each other's faces clearly, you see Damien look directly at Ebil, and he seems to be lost in thought for a couple of seconds. And just as Gustav clears his throat and it breaks Damien's focus, he looks at Ebil. Well, have you met before?
No, but if you don't mind me saying, I know this will sound a little weird, I had a vision about this place. Exactly this place with the black gates and the gargoyles.
Well, why do I feel like I've seen you before? Gustav, have I seen him before? As Gustav looks at you and then back at him. Well, I wouldn't know, my lord.
Well, unless you've been to Sequanta, I very much doubt it.
Well, Lord Grey has never really been outside of the Free Islands. Have you, Damien? As Damien looks back. Not that I recall of. And you did mention something about a painting.
Yes, this painting that I saw was yes, kind of looks like you, but had shoulder-length hair, had a walking stick, and I wouldn't say it's red wine, it was more like blood wine.
Ah, I believe you are. I think you're talking about my father. Walking stick. That's definitely my father. Looks very much like me. That's what people say, at least. And what is that you have to do with this painting?
Well, at the end of my vision, it seemed like the painting was staring at me, so I'd just like to inspect it really to see why it's so important.
Well, unfortunate for you, the painting is no longer with us. The last time I've ever seen that painting was when I was a child. That was, I believe, the only painting or portrait of my father. Not currently in this mansion. Not entirely sure where it is either, but I could help you with it, finding it. If you help me in return.
That sounds fine. I don't mind a little give and take.
But once again, just as I was saying to Jana, as he points to the gnome,
Waves.
anything and everything that's going to happen from now on, it might cost you your lives, but it would be one hell of an experience. As he smiles back at the four of you.
It'll be fun.
But of course, if you are willing to take up on my offer, you would be rewarded. To be completely honest with you, I don't really have to give you any gold. The place that you'll be going to, it holds all the gold that exists on this world, my friends. You could carry how much ever you want. But for others who don't prefer gold, as he looks back again at Jana,
Hey, I never said I wasn't against gold.
well, the last time you
I just
helped
like
me,
little-
I believe you preferred the items.
Well, yeah, they have more unique value. They have special little abilities, and that I find that fascinating.
In that case, you are in luck. The item that you'll be going after is highly sorted after. Sorted by almost every single race, every single kingdom in this world. At least I hope they do. Until about a couple of years back, no one knew the exact location of said item. But now, I have come into such information which may persuade me, so to speak, to acquire that item. Just to keep it safe, of course.
So, how did you come across this information?
Well, if I told you that, I wouldn't need you and you wouldn't be here. Let's just say I have connections everywhere. But coming back to the item itself, it is sealed years and years ago, before anything even existed on this world. Some say that this item was crafted not on the material plane, but in one of the lower planes of existence. Now, I am not really thorough with all the planes, but the thing that we all need to know is if that item gets into the wrong hands, and believe me, it might, things won't end well for the four of you, for me. It won't end well for anyone on this world. If you are well versed with the history of the Free Islands, you may have. Sorry?
No, continue.
If you are well versed of the history, you may know of the war that happened about 500 years back. The last war that ever happened, that ever took place on this island. It was a huge catastrophe. As you may have noticed, half the island is submerged under the drowned reef. But not many people know why this this event, this disaster happened in our past. Except, of course, my family. My family has been around for centuries. We have seen the war, we lived through it, survived it, even. And as stories were passed on from father to son, one of the stories piqued my interest. As a matter of fact, it should have piqued almost everybody's interest, but the others are too afraid to dig for the truth. Back then, a wild force, a fiend, was unleashed upon the lands. And this fiend came from the nine hells, and the only way for it to have been summoned here is through a ritual. Now, this ritual requires a specific component, which is the item that you will be after. Now I know that it sounds like I want to perform this ritual, but that's really not my intent. I wish only to keep it safe, to keep it from those with ill intent, so to speak.
Can I insight check him?
Yeah, you can.
I'll do the same.
All right.
When anyone starts talking about, I wish to have a demon summoning item, but don't want to use it.
With a 20, even with a 17, let me just.
I mean, to be fair, if I got the item, I would also just keep it, not use it.
From a 20 and a 17 from both of you, you see that he is speaking the truth. As far as you can tell, he seems to be a kind of guy who is pretty open with his thoughts and feelings about everyone. He doesn't seem to be very secretive of any kind. Just
Alright. So you want to get this item that can summon demons and bring it back here?
well, it doesn't summon demons by itself. And whatever it summons, I can tell you right now, Jana, it is not a demon. It is far worse. But that is for another day. But as far as I know, it has been under fortification to keep people away from it, of course, and the people of the Free Islands who may or may not have had this information about this item would have trusted the dwarves to keep it hidden. But personally, I don't really trust the dwarves that much. I much prefer the elvish craftsmanship. The dwarves, they are. I understand why they wanted to keep this item hidden. They were, after all, the ones who felt the most amount of pain and suffering during the war. Almost half of their kingdoms were submerged under the water, and the rest of their kingdoms were destroyed and now under rubble. But the last Dwarven king, just before he left the Free Islands, he took this golden seal, this item of utmost importance, and he kept it behind closed doors, just like what dwarves do. They prefer not to share information or anything really that they think that is theirs, their property for some reason. Now, I know that it has been safe for centuries, but I believe the reason why it was safe is because no one knew its location. But now, I fear that too many people may have been, in a way, exposed to this information, which might persuade them, just like how it persuaded me, to go after it. But of course, as you may know, my intentions are clear and for the betterment of the world. The mission is simple. This golden seal, it is buried in one of the mountains in Mont Guldur. The Dwarven kingdoms underneath holds this golden seal, and I need someone, or more than one, as he points to the four of you, to venture into a dangerous, possibly hostile zone. Not sure about it. It could be perfectly safe for all I know. But of course, I need the four of you to go there discreetly and retrieve this item without anyone knowing, if you catch my drift.
All right.
Now, I'm not a man of violence, as you may see. I can barely fight. The thought of blood disgusts me. But I'm not going to promise you that you will not see blood on your way there. But if possible, just imagine the mission to be a stealth mission. You don't have to kill if you don't have to. All you need to do is to bring back said item. Simple as that.
So we bring back the item, and whatever gold we happen to take on the way is our reward.
Well, the dwarves are famed to hoard treasures under their mountains. If I were to guess, you would have more than enough. You wouldn't even be able to carry even 1/10 of what is in there.
Oh, don't worry about that. I'll have somebody help me.
And if possible, bring some for me as well. Just as token of good faith.
So we're stealing.
Well, not really stealing. The dwarves are no longer present. They have left their kingdoms. I wouldn't consider that stealing.
Think of it as more procuring and bringing it back to a safe place for study. That's how us archaeologists always do it.
Well, I mean, if you prefer not to steal, I'm not going to stop you or force you to steal. Except for the seal, of course. The golden seal has to be retrieved before anyone else beats us to it.
Mind is running wild with the thoughts of magic items.
Oh, before I forget. The seal, you see, it's very fragile. It's very important for you to know that retrieving it in one piece is the only way to retrieve it. if it breaks, you might as well be dead. It's best if we make sure that it stays secure.
All right. I think I can manage that, just as long as Fluffy doesn't get a hold of it. All right. So,
If there are any other
You-
questions, you could ask me. Otherwise,
do we have a map or a general location of the place, or are we having to search the entire mountain range?
now that you asked me, I have something special inside my own castle. Not a lot of people are privileged to have it, on the Free Islands at least. Some even consider it illegal, but, you know, if no one knows, is it really?
Technically, yeah.
Well, it's not really being used that often anyway. You may or may not have seen it before, but it is underneath the castle, what most other kingdoms call the Hall of Sigils. It's basically a place where you teleport out of
Oh,
instead of commuting.
well, that'll make the walk a whole lot easier.
But you can understand why it is considered illegal in certain places.
Yes, I can imagine. If we do happen to take those, I'm gonna have to be right back. Also-
You can take your time, but once again, sooner the better.
No. It's going right outside. It's more. What's your rule on pets?
You have a pet.
I have a mouse on my shoulder right now.
I think
mouse.
mine's gonna be a little bit bigger than that one.
Well,
It's actually a little bit bigger than me.
as long as it can take the cold, you will be going up Mongol Door.
Oh, it'll be perfectly fine. It's used to cold weather.
Well, whenever you're ready, Gustav here will escort you to the Hall of Sigils. And he might even give you some equipment, I believe, Gustav? As Gustav turns back. Yes, my lord. They will be needing climbing hooks, some climbing footwear, and possibly clothes that could help them in the temperatures that they're gonna be in. I will go and gather them right now, my lord, as you see Gustav leaving to gather the equipment that they will be providing to the four of you before you embark on your journey.
I take it we all each get like one set of that.
If you want to do anything else before you leave, you can do it now.
All right. I run outside and give a loud whistle. Come here, Fluffy.
And you see your familiar. What is it anyways today?
It is a wolf.
Okay, you see your white wolf running towards you, which was currently stationed just outside the castle, just waiting for you.
Hiding out in the little wood enclave nearby. Hey, boy. You ready to go on another adventure? Looks completely disinterested. Hold on, I got this. Grabs a little scrap of my ration. Here you go. This is what you wanted, wasn't it? Flicks it over him. Immediately is panting and following back in.
I'm keeping my
All right.
distance, and I put my mouse in my pocket.
Oh, don't worry. He's a softie.
I walk
Fuck you.
over and like immediately start trying to pet.
It tenses up for a little bit and growling before Jana just kind of rests her hand on her. Oh, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's okay. You can go pet now.
I pet.
Pet accepted.
Well, hello there, you beautiful little thing.
Little, it's bigger than me.
Well, it's a little smaller than me.
Yeah, I found him a while back out in the woods, and we've been friends ever since.
Just sort of say, would you mind if I rolled to see if I could get your wolf to roll over and its leg to just twitch?
You can try, and I will. Well, actually, no. 15.
No, 22.
Oh, it was 22.
Yeah.
Up there, yeah, it is. He seems to instinctually, after training with me, it's basically a giant dog. I basically trained this thing to be a giant floof. It rolls over instinctually and then looks back at Jana, like, wanting reward.
Give
And
me
then grabs
belly
a little
rub.
bit of ramen. Here you go, you big fluff ball. Alright, well, I'm ready whenever you guys are.
If everybody's ready, please follow me to the Hall of Sigils. As he escorts you to a staircase that is outside the castle, outside the Great Hall at least, down into what looks like a basement, but it is relatively big, and there are about 5 to 6 different rooms inside the basement itself. They're all well lit, and as you walk by each of the rooms, you see a lot of sigils and markings on the floor, which don't really seem to be in any particular language. They just seem to be drawn in different shapes. There are certain elvish not really words, but more like letters here and there.
One of them is dick butt.
Yeah, probably. I don't know what that would teleport you to, though.
Reddit. The front page.
But as you walk forward to one of the rooms in the rear end, Gustav asks the four of you, as well as Fluffy, to stand on top of the sigils inside this room, which is slightly smaller than the other rooms. And the sigil itself isn't as elaborate as the other sigils were. But as you stand on top of it, they start to slowly light up. As Gustav looks up and he gives each of you what looks like thick, um, like sweaters, but it's super thick. And if you wear it now, you would start to sweat in the basement. He also gives each of you a pair of climbing boots, which has sharp metallic spikes at the bottom, and he also gives you grappling hooks to one to each one of you. Well, I know that Damien didn't entirely explain entirety of this mission to you, but the main thing that you need to know is this mission will test you. It'll test your limits, not just your strength or your speed, but your intelligence and your wit equally. Be
don't worry.
wary. Go ahead.
I say, don't worry about that, Gustav. You know me. I can handle myself.
Well, he just looks in doubt. I do not think you understand what you're walking into, but the dwarven constructs, their methodology of protecting things that they call their own, it is of another world. It is best that you are wary of your surroundings at all times. But
Right.
once you go through the sigil, you will reappear in a very similar looking basement. It was, it is, to be honest, House Gray's property. As you leave said basement, climb the nearest mountain almost immediately. Do not wander off on either directions. Once you reach the peak, you will have to climb down onto the other side. It will take, the climb up will take about 2 hours or so. On the climb down will be much shorter. Once you reach a stream of water, which would be pretty easily recognizable, the place that you're looking for is just underneath the stream. If you do not find the stream on your way down, you are probably lost. I would suggest you climb back out into the basement, and I will be waiting on the other end to teleport you back.
Oh, don't worry about that. I think I can handle myself around the locations. I'm pretty good with finding my way through mazes and whatnot.
Well, I do admire your confidence, Jana.
Hey, this is what I've done for my entire life. This is basically the back of my hand.
Well, in that case, if you are sure of what you are going to do, then I would wish you luck and hope to see you back here as soon as possible.
There's also this.
Um, oh, yeah. That's the, I believe, revised ranger.
Yes, or UA.
Okay.
Which is the exact reason why I get to attack with Fluffy instead of having to have Fluffy fight the entire fight.
Yeah. Wait, do you have to choose your?
Basically, bonus act. Basically, on my Fluffy will have its own initiative and everything. It's another fighter.
No. For your natural explorer.
What? Oh no, I don't have to choose terrain. It's just general terrain.
Oh yeah. Okay.
You basically just know your way of the land.
Yeah. So as everyone huddles together onto this smaller, less elaborate sigil, you see Gustav saying a few words under his breath as he bends down and he touches one end of the sigil. As it, once when it was lowly lit, it starts to emit a bright light and in a way beams the four of you into a completely different location. And the four of you don't really notice this movement, except that you feel a bit lightheaded and you feel a lot colder than what you felt just 5 seconds ago. As you open your eyes, you seem to be in a very similar looking basement, much smaller, just a couple of rooms. And you can hear icy winds whistling through the wooden cracks of the wall and the ceiling of the basement. You guys are currently all the way up here. What would you like to do?
Immediately
Ebil.
look around.
Outside the basement, or are you still inside the small basement?
I'd assume we're still inside for now.
As you look around, especially you, Ebil, you have never really seen such modes of transport before. They don't really exist in Sequantor, and it feels very unnatural that you were able to commute almost half of the three islands in less than 5 seconds. But as you look around, it's relatively dark. It's about just past noon, but it's still pretty dark down in the basement. All you see are two other rooms with sigils on the floor. There's really nothing else inside this underground room.
Well, would any of the locals like to lead the way?
Sure. I'm gonna take a quick peek outside to see what it looks like out there.
As you open the what looks like a trapdoor, as you open it upwards, now you can hear strong winds blowing from the east to the west. As you see the sun right on top of you, it's still around noon, just past noon, except that you seem to be on more of a hilly, mountainous terrain. You are currently in the shade of the sun. As you turn and look, you can see some of the most beautiful landscapes, mountains that are about 600, 700 feet high, some even higher, 1,000, 1,500 feet high, all the way up to the clouds. You can barely see the peaks of some mountains. As you look from your left to the right, all you see are mountains in front of you. And this, and behind you, what you see are just grasslands, and there isn't really anyone or anything outside. But you seem to be in the location that Damien and Gustav have had mentioned to you.
Yep. Yep. We've made it all the way to the Mongol Dur. All right. Oh God, that voice. All right. Well, if you guys want to come up, you can.
Okay.
I warn you, it will get very cold very fast up in these mountains.
Lily's basically just looking terrified because she's grown up in cities pretty much her entire life, so she's extremely uncomfortable.
The exact opposite of me.
Well, I think the druid's in his element.
Please, your element is literally everywhere.
Precisely.
Which is convenient as the ranger is also in his element. Hey, it's okay though, okay? I take it you haven't been out to the mountains very often?
Ever?
Ever? Oh. Well, don't worry, it's just like really, really big hills. Slightly pointier.
Just kind of has her eyes wide. Still looking terrified.
No, it's okay. Look, don't worry, I'll be here the entire time, and I'll make sure we get through here okay, right?
Oh, okay. I don't know you, but okay.
Well, you already know my name, so hello again. So I'm assuming I'm gonna look up and find the nearest mountain is over there.
Yeah, it is. You are on. You're literally on the foot of the mountain.
Okay. Well, I'm going to assume that's the one he's talking about. So it would be just on the other side of this one. Good news is it's only one mountain we have to climb. Bad news is it's still a mountain, so it's going to be a little bit of ways. All right. Has everyone got everything they need and everything ready? If not, we can take a quick break or something.
No, I should be fine.
All right.
I think I'm good.
All right. How about you?
Just sort of like shrug because it's like, again, like I have all this equipment. I'm like, I don't know what any of this does, or
All right. Well, I guess it's that.
I rolled the perfect character for this.
I know you are literally out of your element.
Whatsoever.
I love it. All right. Well, just make sure you guys put on your winter gear before we get up there. Trust me, it's useless once it's cold. All right.
I just ask whoever's listening, basically, like, how long is this gonna take?
He said it would take about 2 hours, but I don't know. I've seen mountains bigger than this. I don't think it'll take that long. Natural explorer.
Well, I'm glad someone's confident.
Yeah, you'll just kind of have to follow me, and I think we can get through this pretty easily. Come on, we got exploring to do. It starts running off. Fluffy running gracefully behind.
All right. Are you guys starting the climb?
Yep.
I
As long as
suppose so.
everyone else is good.
As
I hope we do strength checks because I have a -1 to that.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
don't
will.
worry.
be
If we do
soon
strength
enough.
check, I'm fine.
As you, the first about 30 to 45 minutes of the climb is relatively easy. It just goes in circles around the mountain. It looks like there has been there had already been a pathway for people to access the mountains, but they look like they have been either not managed properly or they're just too damn old.
Pretty much.
As you, after about 45 minutes of climbing, you start to feel the snow slowly falling upon your skin. As you look up, you can see that the rest of the mountain on top is completely covered in snow. And the pathway is starting to get a bit slippery due to the ice on the walls of the mountain as well as the pathway that you're taking. What would you like to do from now on?
Wait, what do you mean?
As the pathway is icy, so it's really slippery and it's really narrow.
Would
And
that
as you look up,
classify
it's
as
completely
difficult terrain?
yes. Plus, you will have to make certain checks to see if you can keep your ground.
All right. Well, what are you guys feeling? We can either try to travel through this little icy patch, or we can try to go around it.
Basically, if you don't know, one option is to continue on the path, but
Oh gosh.
or you have
just like this. You just like.
and climbing gear, so you can climb if you want one of these two.
Yes.
Unless you can fly.
Unfortunately, I cannot.
And the wings are getting heavier as well.
Is it possible for me to turn into an ape and climb?
Come on, man, Yeti. It's where it's at.
I need to look at.
It's a level 4
Giant ape.
CR half. Just so it's a normal ape.
30.
Yeah,
I would
CRF.
say I would say the climbing for you would be and require climbing gear, but you would still have to make certain strength checks and other checks as due to the high
However-
winds that are trying to push you out of the climbing zone, as well as the slippery snow and the ice that are on the walls of the mountain as well as on the pathway.
However, you would be a gorilla, so you would have a nice bit of strength.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
The rest of us, on the other hand, might not as much, but I have athletics, so yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to turn into an ape and just start climbing.
Can I climb on your back?
How big are you?
I am under 3 feet tall.
Small.
I weigh 35
He is
pounds.
small.
Jump on.
Yes, I am considered small.
Yeah. Okay.
I just need to...
You have become an ape. As the rest of you see Ebil slowly turn into what looks like a prehistoric version of himself. A Not a huge a huge creature, a similar um, body structure and height as the rest of you, but he seems much stronger than he was.
Oh no. I recognize this magic as druidic, right? Since my brother was basically been trained in it.
Yeah, I mean, everybody would know that.
Okay. I didn't know how.
Druids
I don't know how you like classify druidic as if it's secret or it's actually pretty common practice.
It's not that secretive. It's not that common either. But
Okay.
everybody knows of druids and changing shape.
Oh no, you're like my brother, aren't you? Actually, I have something for this. Primeval awareness. I can just come in. Yep, there it is. Yeah. I can basically just make simple gestures and kind of comprehend what he's thinking. So, Gorilla Man, what was that?
I'm just going to ignore you and climb.
Alright.
All right.
Well-
So what are the two of you going to do? Jana and Oriana.
So for the grappling hook, is that like a strength check, or could I do like, I don't know, acrobatics or something?
It is a. Let me check. Give me a second. The grappling hooks would be either athletics or strength checks because it's mostly you trying to pull yourself up. Acrobatics would be more like walking the icy pathway and trying not to slip on the ice.
I will walk then.
Okay.
Hey, Fluffy, go with her. Make sure she doesn't fall. I'm gonna go climb up.
All right.
Fluffy is traveling the ice path.
Everyone who is climbing for the first, I would say, 30 minutes of climbing. Well, wait, no, you're climbing with your grappling hooks, right?
Mhm.
All right, so why don't you roll a strength or an athletics check? Why do you have advantage?
Was that an advantage? I thought that was just normal.
Nope. That's a
Oh, I
green
think I have
dot.
it just set on an advantage. That's my bad. I
Let
have
me
a
just fix the. I can fix it by making you roll twice in every roll.
Well, the lesser one would have been 2 less, so it would have been a 21.
Yes.
Yeah. Now you should every time you roll twice.
Okay. Cool.
So let's say
Thank you.
21. Okay. So the first about 30 minutes, you manage to quite easily pull yourself up. You can start. You're starting to feel the wind slowly pushing you to the sides as your legs are slipping on the ice, but your climbing boots as well as the hooks that you're using have managed to help you a lot in this climb. I need the ape to roll an athletics or a strength check.
What would my strength be now?
Let me look up. You're ape. You're an ape.
It's a
Yes.
16.
Yes. So you'd have.
So it's a plus 3, but athletics is a plus 5, so you can roll 1d20 plus 5.
Okay.
Yes. I think that's added proficiency, is it not?
Why would it add the proficiency?
No, because I don't know. I always thought that like extra pluses were just from proficiency.
Oh!
Nope. As you begin your climb, you manage to get about halfway through, but it's starting to feel like the ice on the walls are proving to be a far bigger problem to your claw hands. Even your opposable thumbs aren't really helping as you slip and you are delayed. You don't really fall all the way down, but why don't you roll an acrobatics check as well? I just want to see
Roll a monkey performance.
for the ape, it would be
Well,
good.
I've currently got like a +2, so
yeah, it's a +2. Yeah, with an 18, as you were slipping and falling down, you managed to, in a way, punch your paws into the sides of the mountain to hold yourself in place, and you do not take any damage as far as the first 30 minutes are concerned, but you take considerably longer time to get to the point where Jana has already gotten to.
fair
Are you
enough.
guys okay down there?
Whoop, whoop.
I don't think he can hear you. He's too far. Well, by the time he gets to where you are, you would be further up, assuming you don't roll a natural one as well.
Yeah. Well, I rolled that 20, right? Not that 18, 20. Yeah.
For Fluffy and Oriana, I need you to roll an acrobatics check to see how well you can keep your ground. Okay.
Damn it.
No, 10. 10. Alright, wait, for Fluffy.
Oh, that's the wrong one. There it is.
Okay, with the 10 and the 17, you managed to get pretty far up. You slipped and fell a couple of times, but it didn't really do much. It wasn't much of an issue. But from now on, you realize that the path is getting really narrow. You will have to walk with your back to the mountain itself, and it's gonna get really, really hard to keep your ground.
So, because of Natural Explorer, I can still kind of keep an eye on where they are, right? Or kind of where they're not, so they don't get too lost.
You have lost vision on Fluffy and Oriana, but you can keep your eye on Lillian.
Okay.
And Ebil. Wait, what? No. You lose your vision of Oriana and Fluffy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can still see Lillian and Ebil
Right.
below you.
All right. I was just making sure because that changes on the saving throws that Fluffy has.
Okay. For the next 30 minutes, which is a slightly harder climb as well as the walk, I need Jana to roll another athletics check. And I need the ape to roll a athletics check as well, which is a +5. Okay.
Well, it's better than a natural one.
Yeah, with a 16, you managed to climb up at a much greater speed than what you did in the first 30 minutes. And as you're climbing up, you see what looks like Jana's body slowly sliding off
No.
the side of the mountain. I need Jana to roll an acrobatics check to see if she can hold her ground.
Could I roll an athletics to try to jam the hook into the rock side?
I would say roll an athletics for jamming. If you roll more than a 10, I would give you advantage on the acrobatic.
Cool beans. God.
So you just roll acrobatics straight roll.
Straight roll. Okay, never mind then.
With a 20, you manage to, as you try to hook the grappling hook onto the side of the mountain, you didn't really get it all the way in, but just like how, Wolverine slides off of the freaking buildings, you manage to use the grappling hook to slow your momentum down. And after about 30 to 40 seconds of it, you manage to catch your legs onto the mountain side. I need Fluffy and Oriana to roll another acrobatics check. just enough.
I love this.
Yep. Both of you, once again, Fluffy managed to get up pretty easily without any major issues, but um, Oriana started to slip off here and there, but once again, she just manages to get to the point where Fluffy has already gotten to a while back.
Actually, Fluffy's like deliberately slowing down for her, just because the order was to make sure she doesn't fall off.
Okay.
The worst thing is I have a +6 to acrobatics, and
Oh,
I'm
don't
still
worry, Fluffy
fucking
does,
up.
don't worry, Fluffy does too.
It happens.
It's a performing wolf.
For the final part of the climb, as both the parties, both Fluffy and Oriana, as well as the other three of you, can see the peak of the mountain, which seems to be slightly flatter and not too steep. You realize that this is the final part of the climb, and at this point, the winds are howling straight at you. You can barely hear yourself. You can't see anything past 10 feet. There's a lot of snow flying around. You can feel the ice melting on your hands as you are trying to climb. And for those who are walking, you feel that it's so hard, even with the spiked shoes, to walk on this kind of ice. But you can see the peak is within range, and you will be able to get there within another 20 minutes or so, if nobody falls off, that is. Why are you wild shaping again?
No,
Or are you
I
changing it?
I was just changing it to 1 out of 2. I just accidentally clicked it again.
Ah, okay, no problem.
Well, it does stay for 2 hours, so.
Yeah. Once again, I need Jana to roll an athletics. You need to beat a 15.
Alright, here's hoping. Jana, that's animal handling, not an athletics. There's athletics. That is not beating it.
I need the ape to roll athletics as well. Okay. As you in the ape form, as well as Lillian, manage to see the final part of the climb, you manage to climb up at a higher speed, and just as you're climbing up, you can barely see it, or see him slash her, sorry,
No, you're
about 10 feet away. As the snow start to gather around you, you can see what looks like a shadow of someone falling straight down
good.
I
to your
attempt
left.
to catch him.
He's too far off. He's more than 10 feet away from you. I don't know if apes have do they have like a range of 10 feet in their attack?
No. They just have a standard 5-foot hit.
Yep, they have reach of 5. But if you want to attempt to catch this shadow that you see, I will need you to roll an acrobatics check to see if you can keep your own arms into the mountain.
If I fall because of you.
Well, you don't have to roll anything. I can handle it.
Okay. I need Jana to also roll an acrobatics. Okay. I would say that as you are falling off from the final climb, you manage to, using your ranger senses, you manage to see your friendly ape on the side reaching out to catch you, and you also reach out to his hands, but you do not manage to meet. Your hands don't manage to meet. They are just about, I would say, less than a feet away from each other.
Do I still have the grappling hook in my hand?
Yep.
Could I try to throw it at him so he could catch the grappling hook?
Okay. I would
Jesus.
say, I don't even know. Just roll like a ranged attack if you have. Or just roll another acrobatics. It's fine. and I need the ape to roll a strength check to see if he can catch someone falling down with higher momentum. So the strength check would be a +3. I would say that as at the final moment when both of you realize that you are out of reach, Ebil, you feel what looks like a sharp metallic hook grab onto your arm as it pulls you down a bit as well. I would say that you would. How heavy are you, Jana?
Me collectively,
Your
I'm
entire body weight, or you just look at your cash?
yeah, I'm like 45 pounds, man.
Okay, I would say
I weigh collectively as much as an adventure dungeoneering pack.
yeah. Since Ebil, you're already carrying someone on your back, and now another external force is trying to pull you down with a sharper hook. I would say you take 2 piercing damage in your hand as the hook pierces through your just above your wrist, but you do manage to hold on to Lillian, yourself, and Jana.
So this is what it feels like to carry the team on my back.
I guess it does.
Well, I couldn't hear that, so
I only weigh
I know.
35 pounds. Janie's a fatty.
I'm also like a foot taller than you, Munchkin.
I need Fluffy and Oriana to roll acrobatics. They also need
Watch
to
this
beat
one be the
15.
one that he fails. Yeah, it's not
All
bad.
right. Both of
Fluffy
you
bro.
Nice.
somehow manage to make it to the top with such a narrow walkway where you can barely place your own foot perpendicularly to the mountain. But without any major troubles of slipping or sliding, both of you manage to make it to the peak. And as you two get to the peak and look down, you can't really see where the rest of them are, but you can hear this loud screech of an ape coming from underneath you. I need. Well, what are you doing, Jana? Are you still hanging off of a rope piercing into the ape's arm, or are you trying to do anything else?
Am I close enough to the wall where I can actually grab back on?
I would say you are, but I would still require you to make an athletics check to.
Well, it's
To
either
hit-
gonna be I'm gonna make an athletics check to like get get onto the wall, or I'm gonna make an athletics check to climb up the rope to him. So
Yeah, I mean whichever one you prefer.
Yeah.
Which one do you want to do?
I'm just gonna make it to get on the wall so he can get the hook off.
Okay. With the 21, you managed to you're already swinging off almost, and once you find the perfect point on the swing, you manage to pierce the side of the mountain with your grappling hooks. And I just need you to roll another athletics check to climb. I would say the ape and Lillian have reached the peak, and once you reach the peak, you see Fluffy and Oriana already there, looking down to see if you guys are still alive.
I'll drop the wild shape.
Okay.
Well, we've made it up in one piece, mostly.
I need Jana to make an athletic.
Another athletics? Alright, cool.
Yeah, it's the final. Yeah.
Wow.
You
That was
somehow,
identical.
with your grappling hooks and the newly found maneuvers
Didn't
that
mean
you
to do
just
that.
did, you managed to get all the way up and meet with the rest of your party.
I grab a bolt from my backpack and just start using it as a pick to climb in.
All right. Now all 4 of you are on the peak of the mountain, which is relatively flatter than what it looked like from the bottom. What is your next course of action?
Is everyone okay? I kind of threw out that hook at the last second. Are you all right?
Don't worry, I'm fine, but I think someone gets a little overconfident.
It was a loose rock. Sorry.
No problem.
I would have been fine though. I would have been able to catch on.
Of course.
All right. Well, it's a beautiful view up here.
You, from where you're standing, most of what you see are clouds, and you can see the sun still not exactly right on top of your head. It's about, you would guess it's about 2 to 3 p.m. and slowly starting to set, going closer to the horizon. You can see some of the peaks of the other mountains as well, but mostly you don't really see anything below you. It's all snowy and it is completely obscuring everybody's view. You would have to actually shout or scream so that the person next to you can hear what you're saying.
All right.
And I believe, Ebil, you don't need to take damage. The 2 damages for your...
You don't take any damage from your original form or your bestial form. It's literally just a buffer of health.
Sweet.
So if you were to ever like drop to 0 in a beast form, any excess damage you take would go to your character, but that is it.
Right.
So basically, you just get a free shield of health, which is why druids are great tanks.
Yeah, I might actually sort out some extra sheets for different animals.
What I normally do for druids is I'll find what the 3 main stats are: strength, strength, dexterity, and constitution, and then I'll just rewrite those and then look at the stat sheet as it's going.
Okay.
That just gives you your bonus to your bases.
What is the next course of action?
Well, I'd suppose it would be to figure out which way down the mountain we'd have to go, considering I'm pretty sure it's still freezing up here.
Yep, it is freezing.
Could I look around to see if I notice where we have to go?
From the information that was given to you, you are to climb down for about 20 to 30 minutes on the other side of the mountain, the opposite side from where you are climbing up, until you reach what would look like a stream of water. And the place that you have to go to is underneath the stream.
So, because we don't get lost, we know the general direction of the other side of the mountain, right?
Yeah.
The only reason I'm saying that is because I think Fluffy and I'm forgetting names here, and I apologize, but they walked around the mountain basically to get up.
Yeah.
Okay.
For getting down, how exactly are you going to do it, since there is no actual path that goes down on the other side?
How vertical is the mountain face?
It is about the same steepness or the slope as you climbed,
Okay.
but there is no pathway that leads to the other side. This pathway just leads to the top of the mountain.
So it'd literally just be we have to climb straight down. Okay.
Unless you have any other way to get down that I may not know of.
At least from what I'm seeing, is not really, unless Natural Explorer would let me find like some sort of little path to work my way down.
Since you are a natural explorer, I can just say that there are no paths that lead down where you can walk safely, at least.
Well, everyone, I got a little bit of bad news. The only way down looks like it's going to be another climb. Yelling this.
Well,
Why did we climb all the way up here if we're just going to climb back down?
Because going around it would take 3 times as long.
But now we're stuck on the top of a mountain.
True. You're not entirely wrong. Now we have to actually climb down.
I'd like to go home now.
Well, that's back down that side of the mountain. It's gonna be a little bit of a. It's gonna be even longer that way.
I suppose we start climbing down then.
We might need to, yeah.
How are you guys gonna do it?
I think I'll actually climb down with the boots and the grappling hook this time.
Okay.
I'll try and find a large enough rock to tie it around.
Yeah,
how-
on
how
top
long
you
did it
can.
take us?
It will take about 20 minutes if nothing catastrophic happens. But there are rocks on the peak of the mountain.
So can we see where we need to go from here?
Nope. It
Not
is
really,
completely
but
obscured by the snow that is
Not really, but I
blowing.
know the general direction of which way we need to go. Basically. Sorry. So we would have to head down the other direction. So I guess I'm gonna grab my grappling hook and from his palm, and then proceed down that way.
All right. How about the rest of you? And how about Fluffy?
Fluffy genuinely might just need to grapple onto the rope and slide himself down.
Probably
minute,
at
I got it.
disadvantage.
Wait a minute, I got it. All right, I'm going to tie a rope around Fluffy's body
Okay.
to make sure that, like, and then do I need to roll an investigation check to make sure that rock will hold?
The rocks on top of the mountain are solid.
Okay.
There's no way they're gonna break.
Okay, I'm just making sure. But I'll tie him down to a piece of rope. I'll connect a few pieces,
All right.
and I'll
How
kind
long is the rope?
of average rope length we get standard would be
50
about
feet, right?
50 foot. Yes.
Yeah.
So it basically just kind of be lower him to a point where he could like hold on to on his own, and then grab the grappling hook, bring it down further, and continue on.
Okay, let's see how it goes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, little one, do you want to jump back on my back while we climb back down?
Okay.
Wait, but are you an ape? Are you
No,
not an
I'm just a regular person now.
ape? In that case, you have disadvantage with your athletics check when you go down if someone's sitting on you.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll just climb down by myself. It's fine.
Or you could turn back into an ape if you want.
No, I'm gonna save that one for now.
All right. You do get it back on a short rest for druids.
If you guys wanted to make a short rest up here, we could. Because if we do, I actually have an activity I might try. Oh, crap, that was a button. I keep pressing buttons, I'm sorry.
No problem.
Yeah, if we can take a short rest and I can help with one carry one thing or person down.
Okay. If everybody is taking a short rest, it will take about 30 minutes. In my games, short rests are 30 minutes. In these 30 minutes, you can't really hear anything or see anything other than the four of you. The winds are starting to get stronger and louder.
With
And it's-
permission,
Yeah.
could I activate Tinker and try to make a device where basically it works as a sort of.
Yeah, but you gotta spend 1 hour, right?
Yeah, crap. All right.
Yeah.
So it'd be 2 short rests. Dang.
Yeah.
All right. I was gonna try to design just like a little mechanism so it's like I could release the grappling hook from the rock once I needed it.
I mean, if you want to, you can spend 1 hour.
Okay. Up to that. It's up to everyone else in the party.
Well, is the area around us like ice and snow, or is it kind of rocky or a mix?
It is rocky, but you can see this. You can see that it's completely covered in snow, and it's snow is falling pretty heavily on top of you now. If you're standing, I would say it's about ankle, slightly higher than ankle deep in snow. But you would assume that as the sun starts to set, it's going to get worse.
Ankle deep for who? Because ankle deep for someone who's tall is like
Ah,
to my neck.
for her, for
Yeah,
Oriana.
he's not entirely wrong.
How tall are you, Oriana?
5'5".
Oh god. So it's like at least a foot of snow.
Yeah, I'm 2'10".
Yeah, you are light enough to be able to, in a way, float on the snow. You aren't
Okay,
completely.
He's calling you fat. No.
Before I take my rest, I'm going to spend a key point to do my Fangs of the Fire Snake and melt some of the ice and snow around me. And then I'm going to put my grappling hook on a rock and allow, over the short rest, allow the water to freeze around it, holding it in place.
Nice.
Okay, I would say you managed to do that.
So
But once again, is it a 30-minute or a 1 hour long rest?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask for you guys. Did you want a 30-minute or an hour long short rest?
do you definitely need the 1 hour?
It definitely needs the 1 hour for Tinkerer, unless I want to like haphazardly make it, which that'd be up to DM's discretion.
I'd be okay with it, but if it gets too bad the weather, it might be a case of abandoning that.
Yeah, in the worst case scenario, the Fluffy might just need to acrobatics his way down. Gets a long piece of wood, puts Fluffy on top of it. All right, he's snowboarding. All right. Well, it's if we're not going to, I guess we'll just do the 30-minute short rest then.
All right. 30 minutes have passed, and you do see that the winds are getting stronger, and you can't really see much anymore. Even most of you, technically all of you with dark vision, you can't really see, since it's not really just dark, it's completely obscured by the snow falling. But you do know which direction you need to go down in.
All right.
All right.
I technically don't have dark vision. I have those goggles that will let me.
Yeah, that's what I assumed, that you had dark vision since you had
I
goggles.
had those goggles, but I'm a different character now.
I have 60 feet of dark vision, so I'm good.
Same.
If you had these goggles, you'd have 120.
Yeah, it's great. I freaking love those items. They're uniquely useful.
I can fly.
I can fly too. I have a spell.
I can.
I don't need a spell. I can sprout wings, motherfucker.
I can only
I
fly
can
for 10
run
minutes.
really fast.
Wait, I don't think you can fly at level 5.
No, it has to be like level 8 for
Yeah, level 8 for druids. I
unless
think.
you use aspect of the moon.
No. Due to my racial.
Ah, okay. I see.
Freaking tieflings.
Goddamn angel people.
I know, right?
In that case, I'm assuming you're turning into an ape?
Yeah, I've turned into an ape again.
Alright. Then we do the same thing. The ape, Jana, and Oriana rolls. Well, first, the three of you will roll both athletics and acrobatics to see how well you can catch yourself as you go down.
Okay.
Cool.
Alright.
Average.
So that's my acrobatics.
Alright.
And I fall to my death.
No, the way it works is different. Basically, the athletics, if you roll more than a certain number, you gain advantage on your acrobatics. And we are only looking at acrobatics.
Oh. Well, that's convenient to know. Because I rolled nice on the athletics.
Okay. And now I need. Well, all of you managed to make it down without any major problems. As you lower yourself down, and as the wind starts to lower down since you are at a lower altitude, you do manage to see a what looks like this.
It's a cave.
You can zoom out if you're zoomed in.
All right, cool beans.
You guys are somewhere around there, and you're climbing down, and you can see you see what you see on the map: a small clearing with the cliff walls completely covered in snow, and a small stream of water, which seems to be the ice from up top melting and flowing downhill at least. Right now, I need to know what is happening to Fluffy. What exactly is happening?
Fluffy probably got lowered to his maximum distance, and I am going to. I was going to assume I was going to hang out near him once he got down to a certain point.
Okay.
Basically, that was just to clear him to a certain place, and then he can try to get down the rest of his own way. So, now that he's down, I'm going to cut that last bit of rope off so he can get his own footing and everything.
I would say that it's still quite a ways down.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
And yeah.
This was basically just to cover insurance, just in case he slipped at the very top.
Him slipping at the very top and slipping here would really be the same.
Oh, okay.
You falling off like 100 feet or 200 feet to die, but
Is
I
it
just want to. Yeah.
is it possible that after I drop off one person, if I still have enough time as an ape, is to go up and assist with the wolf getting down?
Yeah, I would say you can. I would say that you would, while you're assisting, depends on how you're assisting. If you want to carry the wolf, which is pretty damn big, you would have disadvantage as you climb down. If you assist it in any other way, I will see what can be done for that.
Or maybe not carry it down, but maybe as it's making its checks to jump down, just provide like a shield. I can be like a safety shield as it's going down.
And then, since I'm still up there a little bit, I'm going to be pointing out locations where it's like there would be better footholds for him.
All right.
Because his sense of smell and hearing are good. His eyesight might not be as good, so I'm going to use my.
So basically, I would like to be his Sherpa.
Yes.
Okay. In that case, let's see. How shall we do it? I'm assuming you as an ape, you're just using your body to support him as he goes down.
Yeah, because I've brought up the attributes here now, so I've got the ape stats here.
I'd say maybe that's athletics as advantage, and then acrobatics as normal.
Nah, I mean the ape, you don't have to really roll anything, but Fluffy has to roll. I would say he has to roll 3 acrobatics check without disadvantage, since both of you are helping him.
3?
So 3 acrobatics straight rolls.
All right.
You need to pass at least 2.
God.
You only passed 1, and
wait, that was me. Hold on. I'm sorry.
Oh,
that was John.
That's you just tell me the bonus for him. It's just a 3 plus. Whatever.
The bonus is +6.
So that would be a 9, 11, 21. He still only manages to pass 1. He almost passed the second one, but
that's what I figured.
He slowly slips off to the sides as you are trying to, Ebil is trying to shoulder, using his shoulder to slowly guide him down. You're finding it hard to climb down yourself and to shield a larger creature that is much bigger than you, even in ape form, that is sliding
It's medium.
down. Wait, it's medium?
Yeah, it's medium.
I thought it was large.
No, wolves are medium.
Ah,
It's just an average wolf. It's not a great. It's not a dire wolf or anything.
It's just big for him.
Yeah, it's just really big for me. It's the equivalent of having a Great Dane sitting next to a toddler.
all right. I thought you were able to get the bigger wolf, but I guess you can't.
Nope. I believe that is specifically only for like the original ranger could get a bigger wolf.
Yeah. Well, either way, you still find it very hard to
Yes.
hold the wolf up. So I would say, if you want to try to catch it, I would let the ape roll an acrobatics to see if he can catch it. Otherwise, it's gonna be It's gonna
Great.
be
Right at the very beginning, guys. GG.
it's gonna be about a 50 to 60 feet drop. As you try to catch the wolf, you spectacularly fail at catching it. Maybe you were confused by the fur of the wolf being very similar to the snow itself. As you just leap to your left, trying to hold on to its legs, but all you can see is the body of the wolf slowly starting to slide and fall onto this clearing that you can see below you. For 50 feet, in my games, you don't take damage for the first 10 feet. For the next 40, you take 4d6. You might be able to survive. Yeah,
Oh
your
my
wolf
goodness.
takes about, it takes basically 10 damage as it lets out this really loud squeal as it hits the bottom. The snow somewhat comforts or cushioned the fall, helping it not to take too much damage. But you do see your Fluffy. It is moving. It's not. I'm hoping it's not dead with the 10.
No, it's not.
So you see it
It's
slowly
like
moving and
2
getting back up to its feet and looking up at the rest of you.
Okay, I'll climb down and turn back.
Oh wait, no, Fluffy has 24. I forgot. I get to roll for extra health for him. Cool.
Alright.
Now he has-
Now you are on the clearing.
How's your
Alright.
little fella doing?
I rush over to him. Fluffy, are you okay? Look, what does it hurt? What does it hurt? Using primordial sense.
It seems to have scraped its legs along the way, and it may have broken a couple of ribs, but it's still standing.
All right, I am going to pull out my handy dandy greater healing potion.
I don't think that's really necessary. Why don't you let me have a look at
Don't you
it?
dare. What? Okay. Okay. Just be careful, please.
Instead of spending one of my spells or other things, is it possible I can just make a straight medicine check? Because I have a herbalism kit.
Herbalism. What the hell does that do?
It allows you to make potions and stuff from various herbs and berries.
Yeah, I'm just checking.
Or I like identify and or apply herbs.
You can apply it, but it doesn't really regain. It wouldn't regain any hit points. It would feel less pain, if that would help.
If that's the case, I'll use my healing hands and give it 5 hit points.
Healing hands. Now then, it regains 5 hit points, and some of its wounds started to close up, and it's looking ready.
Okay. You Sure you can make it the rest of the way there, pal? It nods slightly. It's...
Said,
All right, buddy. Just take it easy. Alright.
Maybe bringing a wolf up and down a mountain probably wasn't the wisest decision.
Well, normally he's a lot more graceful. It's just when it comes to steep surfaces, he can't really do all that much.
Well, none of us can really.
I mean, he made it up. He made it up that ice path very easily.
Yes, but that was a path, not a cliff face.
I have no idea how short the path is. My character would not know that, so I can't say anything along that lines. That like narrow path that Tiefling and Fluffy went on. I'm bad with names. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, KT, can you add 'cause
Names
I
to
currently-
everyone?
Yeah, the names to everyone, so we can.
Because I can see mine, but not everyone else's, and that would be great.
Ah,
Yeah, same.
you don't have to add it.
That's a wolf.
I just click on this.
Well, yeah, click on it and
Now you should be
enable
able
it for
to
us.
see it.
Lillian.
Lillian, all right. Could I possibly take control of Fluffy as well? Just okay.
Yeah, I'll be giving it to you. It's just that it's gonna start to lag once we click on names.
Oh,
It's
okay.
fine.
Sorry.
Where is it? Oh. I think you already have control
Yes, I just got control.
of the token.
Yes, just got control of the token.
Can you move it?
Yes.
Okay.
There you go.
So once you have landed on this smaller clearing, you do see a very slow but steady current flowing from what looks like from the peak of the mountain all the way down and off of this cliff over here.
So,
yeah.
if I remember correctly, he said something about it being next to a stream, but did he say exactly where? Is it? I'd assume it's in a cave system, but is it further down the stream or is it near here?
Well, he said it's underneath it, but he didn't really give you any other detail.
Could I make an investigation to see if I can find any like cave or whatnot that we could get into around this area?
Okay, just roll an investigation.
I'll do the same.
All right. With a 13, from looking around you, what it just looks like the natural formation of a cliff. And the sides of the mountains are completely covered in snow. There are no footprints. There really isn't any movement or any indication of past movement around you. But as you go closer to the cliff itself, you can see that it is another about 100, maybe slightly less than 100 feet drop from the clearing itself. And that's all that you see from here.
Right. So do you suppose it's going to be further down?
I've never been on a mountain before.
I know. Wait, does Fluffy actually have investigation, or does he have perception? He just have perception. Yeah, he's probably not going to hear or smell anything out of the ordinary. And I could technically use my, what's it called here? I know I have an ability where I can detect other creatures within a mile radius of me, but I don't know if there's going to be actually any dwarves or anything since I can sense humanoids left in the area.
You can sense humanoids.
Yes.
You
Humanoid became my UA group.
Yeah. You don't sense any humanoids
Besides
anywhere,
the people around me.
other than, of course, the three of the others and yourself.
Okay. Then I'm going to assume, since I don't see anything around here, that we're going to have to go further down. Oh, gosh. Alright. Does that sound okay with you guys? Unless it's further around here.
Well, let me just have a quick look, see if I see anything.
Please, for the love of God, find something. I don't want to go down a climbing section again.
Would you like me to roll investigation or perception?
I don't know what you're doing.
Just looking around, see if I can notice anything.
That would be
Investigation.
investigation. Yes. You pretty much see the same thing that Jana saw. There just seems to be the stream flowing down 100 feet, slightly less than 100 feet actually, from where you're standing to another level, basically down here. Sorry.
Yeah, perception's not gonna cut it. Alright.
Well, unfortunately, I can't see anything either, so it looks like we might have to go down again.
Alright. Alright. Well, then it's a little less than 100 foot, you said?
Yeah, it's about 90, 95.
Between the grappling hook and the rope I have on me, I'm
Yeah.
going to tie it together to get the maximum amount of rope I physically can possible.
Okay.
And I think that'd be like roughly like 80 or 90.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say so.
And then we're gonna have to try to lower Fluffy down again.
All right.
I mean, I can cast fly on it.
I mean, you can. That's entirely up to you. Why do I feel like this is the cave we're looking for? Like non-metagaming, I just feel like that's the cave.
There's also this thing behind us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that just looks like natural cliff face.
It looks like natural cliff face. Nothing has been tampered with. Just snow all over.
Can I
Okay.
touch it?
Yeah, you can go and try and touch it. As you go and touch it, nothing much happens. Why don't you roll a... Should that be... I think that would be perception, yeah. Just roll a perception check. 27. With a 15, as you touch the cliff face, nothing really moves or nothing happens, but you can feel what feels like some kind of vibrations, and you can very faintly hear what sounds like water droplets dropping
Guys,
underneath.
could you give me a hand digging here for a second?
Sure. Come on, Fluffy. We both walk over and go over to the cliffside.
I can hear some water droplets behind here. It just seems a little off. Could you help me dig past this section?
Sure. Fluffy goes up to dig the area
As
out.
Fluffy starts to dig all the snow out of the the cliff face and the ground as well, you don't really see anything other than the stone and the rocks that already naturally exist on the cliff and the face itself. But now that you're standing on the rocks and not on snow, you can feel hollowness, almost like you're standing on some kind of a ledge, and the water droplet sounds starting to get louder as the snow is cleared.
Can
It's
I?
almost as if the cave is under us, I think, now.
It's quite possible.
Well, then I guess it would have to be below the cliffside.
I mean, just for shits and giggles, can I try and hit the wall with my club?
You can. How hard do you want to hit it?
Full on swing like I'm trying to knock someone out.
Okay. Just roll, just to see. Okay. As you bring your club above your head and you bring it all the way down onto the cliff face and onto the ground, you can once again feel the vibrations getting stronger and originating from where you just struck the cliff face itself. And that's all that you feel.
There's definitely something behind this cliff face. It's vibrating.
Alright, well. I wouldn't have any. Wait, I have something. I have a pickaxe. I feel like I'm doing a dumb thing, but I also feel like this is very successful. I grab my little pickaxe I have in my from my adventurings as a dungeon archaeologist. There it is. And I'm going to try to excavate through some of the debris, or excavate through some of the stone.
As you use your minus pick to try to make a passageway of sorts for what you believe to be underneath, you feel like, from your experience as an archaeologist, the rock structure that you are trying to mine through is formidable and almost impossible to break through.
AKA, we're going the wrong way.
And as you hit your pickaxe over and over again onto the rock, you can hear the ringing sound as well as the water droplets coming from underneath. I need everyone to roll perception.
Fluffy, advantage. Wait, is it hearing specifically?
Yes, hearing.
All right, so advantage for Fluffy with his +4 perception, and then for Shaha,
I need to make everyone roll twice using the options menu, which I will do right now. So it's easier. God, it's taking so long to load. It's lagging like crazy.
I'm sorry. If you want to get rid of the names, it's fine.
No, it's fine. I don't think it's just the name, it's the amount of spells, information in each of the character sheet.
Sorry,
That's fine.
I should have just picked fighter. Okay, so you want me to roll again for Fluffy?
I don't know where the roll is. Which one is
yeah.
Fluffy's roll?
The first one was Fluffy. He had a 13. So
Yeah, I'll just say 13, and the 13 is the same. With the 13, all Fluffy can hear is once again, the water droplets starting to fall off in a rapid fashion after getting hit by a club and by a pickaxe. But with the 21, I would say Lillian, since she's closest to the cliff, the outer face of the cliff, you can hear what sounds like clicking sounds. It's almost like some kind of a metallic structure or a metallic object hitting itself or hitting something else from over this side.
Would I hear that as well from my 27?
Yes, with the 27, you can hear rapid clicking sounds like it's almost like something is trying to, in a way, someone is trying to run something small over from the cliff face facing outwards.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, looks like we're not getting through here, so we might have to climb down again.
That's fine. All right. Then
Just as you say that and move forward, I would use the same perception. Both Lillian and Ebil, you see something moving underneath the snow, almost making a passageway, literally 5 feet away from you, Ebil, onto your right. And you see a couple more of these passageways through the snow, very small ones, probably buried underneath, moving towards the five of you. I need everyone to roll initiative.
right, so Jana went first. Fluffy.
I can control Oriana if you want me to.
All right, I will give you permission to control her character sheet. I think she's got some random stuff. There's the monk that she chose. So I will just transfer control. Matthew as well. Now you should be able to control her as well. That's fine. 22, 7, 21. All right. So, as all of you see some kind of a creature moving underneath the snow, getting closer and closer to you, none of you can actually see the entire body of this creature slash creatures, except for Ebil. Ebil, you see a very curious looking thing, very next, literally 5 feet next to you. From what you can see, you have never seen anything like this before, ever, in your life. From where you were and where you usually dwell, this is pretty much the opposite of what you are accustomed to. What you see right next to you, leaping out of the snow, is something mechanical, something that is purely made of metal, something that you stand against as a druid. And it looks like a worm with sectioned bodies. Different parts of this body are sectioned separately, and it is completely made of metal. You can see its legs with pointy ends pushing itself off of the ground, lunging towards you. And you can, as it's lunging towards you, even see some of the rock underneath, which was almost impossible to break through, seems to have been broken a bit, and it looks like it's coming out of the rock structure underneath you. It is a surprise round, but since you rolled a 27 for perception, I would say
Oh yeah, I forgot. I roll advantage for perception. I mean, roll advantage for initiative for Jama.
yeah, you can roll again. But the surprise round will work with Ebil moving first and the creatures moving second.
Sweet. Okay.
There we go.
What would you want to do, Ebil? You see this mechanical creature, worm-like creature, lunging at you.
I would like to use the cantrip infestation.
All right. Okay. Okay. Let me check one thing. All right. Con save. Ooh, 17.
God damn it.
As you use your cantrip, you put your arms forward to conjure up a cloud of fleas and other insects and parasites coming out of your hand and over this mechanical creature. It doesn't seem to be affected by it at all. It doesn't even seem to care about these insects and parasites trying to poison it. It pretty much shrugs everything off with its single intent of trying to stab you, who hit its house with a club. And now it is the creature's turn. As everyone at this point would see Ebil casting a spell and failing, and another mechanical creature lunging out of the snow, trying to bite Ebil's face off. Does a 14 hit you, Ebil?
That is my armor class.
So yes.
As it leaps towards you, it has really, really sharp mechanical teeth, which pretty much pierces onto your shoulder as you feel a bit of your blood starting to flow out of the clothes that were given to you by Gustav. And as the blood starts to flow, just for a second there, you feel something jolting through you, like electricity that you never really felt before in your life, but it feels like a shock that runs through your body, and you take another additional 6 lightning damage.
Yay.
Right.
Out of
So
nowhere, you see, well, Ebil doesn't see it, but Lillian, Oriana, and Jana, as well as Fluffy, can see another one of these creatures. Very similar, slightly different in size, but once again, leaping out of the snow, trying to bite into Lillian. Does a 20 hit you?
Yeah.
I believe it does.
Just a little bit. Yeah.
No, it misses.
As you see another similar looking mechanical creature, while you were distracted by the first one, jumping right at you and taking a quick scrape at your arm, while you also feel something moving through your body, almost like a shock. You take 5 damage plus 1 lightning damage. And as you get bitten, another one of said creature pops out of the snow just from underneath the rock that is in front of you, Lillian, as it jabs at Oriana. Another 20. I believe that hits as well.
Yep.
So she takes 6 plus 3 damage. And now, combat begins. It is Jana's turn.
All right. Noting the one that just ran out in front of Oriana, I'm going to pop out from my little corner over here and take a lined up. I'm going to take a shot over at the robotic looking thing, construct looking freaking, I don't know.
Which one?
The one that's over by Oriana, because I don't know if, can I see the other two?
Yep. Right now you can see all of them. They're all
I was
literally
just
in the
wondering
air.
because there's the rock in
taking
front
a
of the
bite.
one. There's the rock in front of the one sitting next to him. I didn't know if I could see that from behind the rock.
No, you can see all 3 from here.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, I'm going to aim over at the one over there, at next to Mr. Gorilla, Ebil.
Ebil.
All right.
Yes. And I am going to activate my sharpshooter bonus, taking a -5 to my attack roll, but I add +10 to the attack damage if I hit.
All right.
I'm going to fire my light crossbow. So they've already
Okay.
acted.
So it's an 18 or 23?
It would be -5, so it would be an 18.
18. An 18 does hit.
All right, so that's +10 to my piercing damage,
All right.
and then yes, that'd be +10 to my piercing. So I'd take 18 damage for him.
As you see them popping out of the snow, you immediately take your crossbow out and you hit the one that bit a pretty big chunk out of Ebil. As your arrow hits this robotic worm, your arrow deflects off of its armor, and it does leave a dent on its armor, but it looks like it hasn't taken the entirety of the damage.
All right, and then I'm going to yell over at Fluffy. Fluffy, go defend Oriana. And now it has motive. Okay. And that's going to be basically the end of my turn.
All right.
And then it's my turn again. So Fluffy is going to rush over to Oriana, or next to Oriana, and
All right.
and then thanks to, I believe it's Pact Instinct. I think it's the ability or the thing's name.
Pack tactics.
Pact Tactics. Yes. He's going to get a advantage on his attack to hit it. He's gonna go right over there.
All right.
Sorry, it's loading a bit slow on my end. That's right. So I still have it in editing mode. Great, fantastic. I am doing good. There it is. Was that doubled up?
13 just hits
I
as
can-
Fluffy.
Rolling.
Okay, you can describe.
Okay. Basically, Fluffy just pounds over and dives onto the worm. Can you make a saving throw for me?
Strength save?
Yes.
Strength save. Nope.
Of 11.
You see, you're not prone. It is currently prone as
All right.
Fluffy leaps onto it and sends it onto the ground.
And starts trying to bite into the metal, or bite and claw its way into the metal.
You can see a very similar thing happening, just the way when you shot the arrow. It is denting in, but it doesn't seem to affect it that much.
That's fine. Alrighty. That's basically into my turn.
All right. It is Ebil's turn.
I will attempt to hit it with my spear.
Okay. 5 unfortunately does not hit. As you are reeling from the first hit that came out of nowhere, you try to jab your spear at this metallic creature, but you seem to completely miss it and hit the snow next to it.
Okay, and as a bonus action, I will cast Magic Stone.
Okay.
So basically, it gives me 3 pebbles, which I can throw as a magic weapon
Yeah.
with my spellcasting stuff.
Here's the thing. All right. You reach down and you pick up some really strong-looking pebbles, and you enchant it with your magic.
Yeah, that's me.
All right. It is Oriana's turn.
All right. I'm gonna have her just do a couple of unarmed strikes on this guy next to her here.
Okay, you have advantage since the creature is prone.
Oh yeah, +3. 'Cause yeah. Cool.
A 19 does hit, but why is it doing 3 damage instead of a believe? It's not rolling a die.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be a 1d2
6.
or 1d4, 1d6. Yeah.
I need to
You,
check
you
just
might
in
have
case.
you might have forgotten to put the number in front of the dice. I do that from time to time.
Level 5, 1d6. So you gotta add a 1d6 to the 3.
All right.
Alright. I believe she can do one more punch.
Yeah, she could do another
Yeah.
unarmed strike as a bonus action.
Yep.
That
Well,
also
let's
hits
do
with a
that.
25. Another 1d6. Let me just fix it on her.
And then if she wished to, she could use Fury of Blow, I believe? Or is that the other specific rules of?
She can. I'm just fixing the.
If I use a key point, I could do a Fury of Blows.
Yes.
Ooh, 6. Yep, I fixed it on her character sheet.
All right. I will use a key point and I'll attack again.
Alright, you can attack twice actually. Wait 1 second. I need to check another thing about monks. Alright, okay. So as she starts punching down on the already injured creature, the first 2 punches manages to bring it down to just a few scraps. As you can see, some of its bowls, some of its the couple of its eyes, which pretty much looks like screws, start to fall off, and its arms start to fall off in a very mechanical fashion. As the final punch manages to put it out of its misery, even if you aren't really sure if it feels pain because you can barely hear anything from it. It is currently dead, as far as you can tell, with all its parts lying about.
Cool beans.
Cool. That's her turn.
Now back to the worms.
Actually,
Technically,
I'm gonna have her move right here.
she can punch one more time.
Okay. Well, then I'll have her move
Flurry
right
of
there and punch
blows.
that one.
Yeah. 15 does hit, and you manage to come out from the side and surprise this creature by punching it straight on its face as it loses some of its mechanical teeth. It's the end of her turn. It's their turn. As you see the one closer to Lillian and Oriana getting punched in the face and seeing its comrade getting dismantled by Oriana's punches, you see this worm creature start to burrow down into this extremely formidable rock structure, and out of nowhere, Lillian, Oriana, Fluffy, and Ebil, all four of you feel a sudden shock go through your body. It's almost as though it originated from the ground itself, as it reaches all the way through, and you take 14 damage each.
Don't need to make
If you
a
fail
save.
the deck save, of course.
Come on, Fluff.
Ebil takes 14 damage as the shot goes through his body. You take 7 damage.
Keep going, Fluffy.
And Lillian,
I want to do my as a halfling. I'm lucky, so I can roll. Oh no, never mind. Never mind. That's only when I roll one. Never mind. I'll take 14 points. Let me roll for
alright.
Ariana here.
That's only if you take the lucky perk. Those feet.
She has the lucky feat, I think.
I don't have a lucky feat. I have the magic initiate feat.
No,
but I
not
do
you,
have-
Oriana.
Oh, Oriana, does she have it?
I
If
believe
she would
does.
have lucky, then theoretically, yes, she should be able to.
Yeah, she does have lucky.
Yeah, so if you want, you can reroll.
Sure, I'll roll it again.
Not much better. You can
Alright.
choose to take whichever one.
22. 22 does save, and
Oh.
she takes 7 damage. As each of you, for a split second, you flinch as you feel a electric shock going through your spine, and you see this creature reappear back onto the ground. The other one is going to. It's going to do the exact same thing, actually. But before that, I believe it needs to make a deck save as well. Ding, makes it. Ebil, so Ebil, you are the only one who can see that this worm-like creature that is in front of you seems to also take what feels like the full brunt of the damage of the shock that has gone through you, and it looks like it is on its last legs.
Yay.
And you see it doing the exact same thing its comrade did earlier. It starts to burrow down into the ground. And once again, you feel another electric shock. Wow, 4d6, and I rolled a 5. 1, 2, 1, 1. Well, everyone who makes it takes 2 damage. Everyone who fails it takes 5 damage. A very similar kind.
Who needs to make the save again? Sorry.
Just Ebil and Lillian.
Okay.
Does that say
As
when
you
it's
see, well, this guy also has to make it. Makes it.
Bronze Scout. Nice.
It is the end of their turn. It is Lillian's turn.
Yeah, it's my first turn and I'm almost dead. I'm going to cast Magic Missile at the one in front of me.
That would be with disadvantage since you're within 5 feet.
Magic Missile hits no matter what. I don't have to do anything.
Yeah, it's guaranteed.
Oh, yeah. It's magic missile.
So
Magic
I'm
Missile,
actually going
otherwise
to
known
do
as
Magic
Magic
Missile at level 2.
Forget it.
So I don't know why it only selected 2, so I gotta roll another 1d4. I don't know why it didn't calculate for me.
Sometimes it felt like Magic Missile are finicky.
So 4 points of damage.
Damage. Let's see. As you conjure up these magical missiles in your hand and you send it right into the face of the mechanical worm, it takes the full brunt of the damage, but it's still standing tall.
Pretty much all I have.
That's the end of your turn. Oh, wait. I keep forgetting you are a chaos sorcerer.
Yep, I am.
Fireball in the face.
Let me check some stuff.
It's at
Yeah.
your discretion. Anytime I roll or cast anything above a level 1, you can make me roll.
No. I already said every time you do it in my campaign, every time you cast a spell of level 1 or higher, you get to roll the d20. So nope, nothing happens. You feel the chaos surging in you, but it doesn't seem to come out in this cold weather. If that is it, that's the end of your turn.
That's it.
It is back to John's turn.
All right, I'm going to make my way over back next to this rock, line up my bow again, and perform another precision strike.
Okay, on which one?
The one that is over by
Ebil.
Ebil.
Okay, it is on already its last legs.
Yep, I'm just gonna make sure it's securely knocked. Oh, if it's on its last legs, then I might just do it normally. Actually,
Exactly.
regular shot.
That does hit, and your arrow pretty much brings the torso, or whatever the torso of a worm would be, the entire mechanical part of it, all the way down 100 feet down onto the bottom of the cliff, as you can hear the metallic parts hitting the rocks and then falling onto the snow. It is dead.
Nice. All right. I'm then going to move my way over this way a little bit, and then yell at Fluffy to stick the last one.
All right. It is Fluffy's turn.
All right, Fluffy, hearing that, is going to rush over, and with advantage because of hunters or packed hunter,
Mhm.
front over here, and is going to go in for a bite.
All right. With advantage, so you can roll again if you want. I'll take the
Going
first
for that
attempt.
sweet nat 20.
No. So I'll take a 24 to hit for 11 strength saving throw. As it bounces towards the worm, it pretty much rips its tail completely off as the mechanical part of the tail starts to slowly power down and fall onto the snow. It is still standing, but it is on its very last legs.
All right.
Make a strength save. And it made it. It is not prone.
So it is standing.
Yes. It is back to Ebil's turn.
Okay, I
You
will.
just saw an arrow pretty much decimate the worm in front of you to pieces.
Okay, so I'll move back. I'll do my bonus action first for healing. So I'll choose Lillian.
All right.
I'll use Balm of the Summer Court.
Okay. How many d6s?
Um, I'll use 2 for now.
All right. So she regains 2d6 plus 2 temporary hit points. You
Oh,
get to roll Ebil.
Well, she gets to 2d6 normal, but the plus 2 are temporary.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So 11 hit points and 2 temporary hit points for Lillian.
And what I'll do for my action is a sling attack with one of my magic stones.
All right. Go ahead. That does hit.
So it's
Does
a...
this count as magical damage?
No, this damage doesn't. It's a 1d6 plus your spellcasting ability modifier. So it's a... So it'll be plus 8? Oh no, it'll be plus 5. So 1d6 plus 5.
So you rolled. So it's a 5 damage. 5 bludgeoning damage, which is not magical.
No, that was just from the actual, like the sling in the
Oh, the
sheet.
sling itself.
I'm actually using one of the magic stones.
Alright, as you throw the stone with magic, it manages to completely take the head of the worm off its body, and it flies back into the stream of water. As you can see, it's slowly powering down as well. It is currently dead. And all you see around you are mechanical parts, just pieces of these creatures just spread out all around you that he just killed. You are out of combat. What would you like to do?
Lillian just sort of terrified still is like, I'd still really like to go home now.
What were those things? They looked robotic. Normally I'm used to dealing with old, ancient monsters and whatnot, not robots.
Maybe it's part of the defense mechanism of the place we're going.
I feel like it might be. I mean, we were making a lot of noise out here. Fluffy, how are you doing over there? Looks a little bit scratched up, but otherwise nothing too...
Fluffy didn't really get hit.
He got hit by 7.
He did?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he fell down.
Well, no, he got hit for that damage, but he also got hit for 7 from the electric shock, remember?
Oh yes, the shock.
Well, what I was gonna say, I'm taking the holes that are not big enough for us to try to go through.
It is. You can probably put your arm in.
Okay. Well, whatever it looks like those creatures came out of the ground below us. So I'm going to assume that the entrance would be nearby below us.
Seems like a reasonable observation.
All right.
Well, shall we keep going then?
Fluffy, how are you feeling for another quick descending? It looks very concerned. Whereas another little bit of ration. It looks like Fluffy calms down a bit.
Is there anything that we can scavenge off of these things? Like, is there anything useful that we could...
Roll an investigation check.
No, I have no idea. I've never seen these before.
You have never really seen mechanical objects until now. There are many parts that are scattered around you, but you're not sure if they could be helpful.
I'm just going to pick a handful of it up and put it in my pockets because that's what I do is I collect random things. So
Okay.
I'll leave that to him.
Oh, Katie, I've changed my damage value on the sling to match the magic stone.
You want me to change it? Or...
No, I've just done it now, just as a heads up.
Okay.
Well, if you want to use my rope, I can carry Lillian down again as an ape.
Actually, hold on a moment. Mind if I borrow that rope just for a little bit?
That's fine.
Actually, no, I'd have wait, now, with the grappling hook and everything, I'd have 90. I'm going to tie that other end of Fluffy. Would you mind actually helping me lower him down gently?
Well, I'd probably be best off turning into the ape for the
Yeah,
help of
I mean,
that.
once you transform, of course.
Yes, that's fine.
Alright. I would say, just to expedite things, that you managed to get down without any issue, because the Fluffy was the only issue, but now that you have devised a plan, it should work.
Okay. Alright. We managed to get... Alright. Whee!
As you go all the way down to the cliff face seems to not be completely natural, but you do see a small crevice, a small opening just behind the water flowing down.
You said it's unnatural.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be a natural opening.
Okay.
What are you seeing behind the, technically speaking, water? But it's just a very small stream. It is
Because
pretty dark in there.
I was contemplating using my archaeologist background ability, but nah, it's fine.
You can use it for whatever you want to use it.
Basically, it just tells me like what this was, like what this little area was, and everything, or if it was used for any specific purpose. But we already sort of know that, so it's not really a big deal.
Yeah, from your archaeological background, you know that this is the rock structure, at least, is extremely strong and pretty primarily used by dwarves over the ages into building their fortresses and kingdoms underneath it.
Mm.
And it's very hard for people to break through with even siege weapons nowadays. Other than that, you don't really see anything else
Alright,
from
dude.
the rock structure itself.
That's fun.
So,
All right.
what would you recommend?
I would recommend we proceed carefully. From what it gathers is that at least there are forces in here that might not be human. By might not, I mean definitely from those things.
Well, it's good to know.
I'm going to have Fluffy proceed stealthily through the area to see if he can, like, sense or hear anything going on.
Where are you sending Fluff?
I'm going to send Fluffy in first, stealthily.
All right. Let me. Okay. How does it work? Do you see what Fluffy sees, or how does it work? I'm not sure.
It's literally Fluffy sees on his own accord and
Okay.
can do everything on his own, but I can then have him walk back and see if he spots anything in particular. Or I can follow in behind him. Because
Okay.
based on Animal Companion, me and him can both move at a normal pace relatively stealthily.
All right.
I mean, I'm guessing this. I don't know about Ebil, but Oriana and Lillian are both pretty stealthy as well.
True. Literally, that's like one of the few things I have like going really well on for Fluffy is stealth.
Basically, all my skills are rogue skills, except I'm not a rogue, so
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm not stealthy.
Well, then if you want to proceed towards the back, we can scout the area and see if there's anything.
Well, it's probably for the best, considering most of my magic is from a distance as well.
I can actually cast invisibility on myself and go and investigate.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so I guess I'll just cast invisibility.
Okay. Okay. As you start walking into this extremely narrow opening into the cliff face, you feel that it is, since you are relatively smaller in size, you manage to fit in pretty easily, but someone of a normal humanoid size would have to squeeze in to this gap to get all the way into the other end. How far in do you want to go?
I mean, what am I looking at? Am I going through like a tunnel, or is it like a cavern, or?
A crevice.
It is crevice. It's a very small and very narrow opening between two walls of the Just imagine that you're in a room with the walls are very, very close to each other. You're stuck inside.
It's like a crack in a wall.
So
basically,
I
just
guess
a
I'll
bigger-
go in far enough until if I can see any openings or anything, like at the quote unquote at the end of this corridor, see if like I can get to an end.
At the end, let me put you on a different map so that you can see it. This map is gonna lag like crazy.
So yeah, I was having a bit of difficulty with that thing right next to me, considering most of my stuff is, like I said, from a distance.
Okay. Well, I'm a bit of a ranged person too, but I can keep Fluffy on guard if you need.
It'll help. I can get close. It's just I'm not as proficient.
No, trust me, I know exactly what you mean. I mean, look at me, I've got this. Points over at Anastasia, which is her crossbow.
Well, it's effective.
It is what it needs to be.
I mean,
Count me out of 50 scraps.
I do primarily focus on healing, so I'm not the greatest fighter.
Alrighty then, I can stay back with you and try to protect you.
Well,
Protect me! I have 12 AC.
I only have 14. Calm down.
Mages and your rangers, can't you just be the tank like me?
We got our monk tank.
Wait, your AC is 12 as a monk?
No, Oriana's AC is 15, but I'm a sorcerer. I got 12.
That moment when I think I have the highest AC and health.
As you start to go further and further in, you do see an opening at the other side. Just ignore all the stuff written on the map itself. It is relatively dark, but you can see using your goggles of night. And you can see that this cave is pretty extensive and it's got a lot of openings on all sides. But you don't really see anyone inside here as of now. I need to know your passive investigation.
Passive investigation
Yeah,
is 10.
10. Okay. How far do you want to go?
I think I'll just kind of get to this point right here, and where I can see that there's an opening and some different pathways, and then I'll head back and tell everybody what I see.
Okay. You don't have to move any. I will just move you.
And unfortunately, most of my magic is set for ice and nature. So considering we're in a mountain with a lot of snow,
One of my spells is Ray of Frost too. It's like, oh great.
yeah, I've got Sleet Storm and Ice Knife. Not
I wish it was taking
Well, we are in a
fireball.
mountain, so it might not be ice creatures.
no, but
Alright,
it's,
so I'll come back and relay that. I went in. I didn't count how many feet that was, like 50, 60 feet, 70 feet, and that I saw an opening, and there appeared to be some other pathways branching off. But then I got scared and came back.
All right.
We will take like a 5-minute break here, and once we come back, we can end the session off in another 15 to 20 minutes.
okay.
Cool.